game like, for example, Space Simulation Toolkit, and oh my god, you have the little copter. That's amazing. What I was gonna say is usually in games like that, wow, you're not kidding. It's not. It doesn't. The multiplayer doesn't seem janky at all. Like the landing and stuff, the physics. Um, but what I was gonna say is usually with really GPU intensive games, when I record, it freaks out, huge losses in frame rate. But no, I'm pulling 60 while recording, which is really nice.
Are you recording in 4K? I mean, are you playing in 4K right now?
I am playing in 4K and I am streaming at 1440p. So
Okay,
I have an
but the game is not.
RTX 4090.
Sorry?
I have an RTX
You have
4090.
4090?
So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what I thought. I mean, the 4090 is the only GPU that can play 4K in this game right now at over 60 FPS, actually. I'm actually working on a fix that will make it run a lot faster than that for 4K configurations. But since
awesome.
the render is fully ray traced, you're gonna see a directly proportional between frame rate and number of pixels. So if you're running 4K, you have 4 times more pixels in the screen than 1080p. So you're literally gonna divide your frame rate by 4,
Yeah,
as
and
opposed to rasterization renderers where it's not. I mean, it's more like half, right?
mhm.
So it's a big difference.
I'm not complaining. I'm still getting 60 FPS while streaming, so
Yeah. Okay. That's
I,
great then.
I'm telling you, like I am gobsmacked that you built a ray tracing engine and it performs this well in a like a early access state like this. It's pretty crazy, and it doesn't look terrible either. It doesn't look like a tech demo. It looks pretty darn good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's there's an advantage of having the game fully ray traced, and it's actually a performance advantage with very complex geometries. You can have as much, pretty much as much complexity as you want in your geometries, and it's basically free because it's a logarithm. Like the complexity, the old
Yeah,
notation that you would use to
because you're
define
still you're still
ray tracing.
sending out the same amount of rays, so
Yeah, exactly. It's linear with the number of rays that you trace, but it's logarithmic with the same complexity because of the hardware PVH acceleration structures and all that. And what you don't see, it's like it doesn't exist, right?
got it.
So yeah, so you don't need like a complex culling algorithms. You don't need LOD systems. You don't need any of that. Uh, although we have an LOD system for the terrain.
I had a feeling.
Um,
That's why I asked about
yeah,
octrees.
and that is, yes, that the reason is the VRAM, and also, I mean, technically generation time. Even though like the whole planet generates pretty much instantly on the GPU, uh, it does that because we have an LOD system. But without an LOD system, I mean, we couldn't generate the entire planet with millimeter precision like we're doing here,
Got
right?
it. So
So
I
it's
have
the
one question.
hmm?
First, I'm just going to tell my
Yeah.
audience, hey guys, welcome to Archean, the actual developer of the game, and that's right, single developer of the game is here, who built the engine and the game, and is probably the most talented programmer I've ever spoken to. I don't have much more to say than that. um,
Okay.
so we're gonna go through the
Okay.
game.
Okay, so I'm gonna just bring you over to the place where the people build stuff.
Oh, that's
So you know,
so
let's just do something.
the ray tracing and stuff.
I'm
Just
gonna
the little effects it causes. It gets me. The little reflections and stuff. It's so subtle, but it's so good. I did have one
yeah,
question about the terrain. Um,
sure.
a technical question. So, is this generated with dual contouring or marching cubes
No,
or
it's a simple height map.
really?
Yeah,
Huh. So then,
I mean it's my own Perlin algorithm. I mean I've developed my own version of the Perlin algorithm that so that it runs in very high precision compared to like the 32-bit typical thing that you get, and so it runs with partly with integer math. so that it's a lot faster than FP64 on the GPU. So and also we still get a lot more precision than FP32. So we can render an entire planet, Earth-sized planet or bigger, with a millimeter precision on the terrain.
So then, if it's using a map like that, can you have like overhangs in the terrain, or is it just height based?
It's just height base. However, it would be possible to add layers, like layers of other things, like basically rocks, or additional layers. So these rocks that you see, they're actually ray marched. They're not they're not triangle geometries. They're ray marched.
Wow.
And every single rock on the ground is completely unique. You're not gonna find two rocks that are different, and it's always gonna be the same rocks, right? It's these rocks that are there. Like if another player comes, they're gonna see the same rock, and they're always generated exactly the same at the same position, and high detail, and you can pick them up, and yeah, and other players will see you pick them up. They'll disappear and all. So yeah.
All right. I have a lot of rocks. I have over 200 rocks. Yeah.
So in adventure mode, you have to pick up the rocks. You start like that. You crush them, and you get some ore, and then from the ore you can craft things, and you can then build some mining rig, and then dig a lot more rocks quicker. There are places with different compositions, right? So if you pick rocks like 100 meters away, you're gonna get a completely different composition.
I was gonna ask.
May have more.
Yeah, because I see some of the rocks aren't stacking with each other, so I assume there was something different about them. Very
exactly.
Cool.
They have different composition.
All right. So that's how you get the metals and stuff, and then you can start making tools and parts and things. All right, guide me. I want to become a professional before every other YouTuber does.
Yeah. Well, after picking out a few rocks, the first tool that you're gonna want to craft is a rock rake tool, so that you can actually pick up rocks faster.
All right, moving up in the world, rock rake.
Yeah, and the rock rake tool lets you also know what the content of the rocks are. You can basically aim at a rock while holding that tool, and right-click, hold the right mouse button while aiming at a rock, and it will tell you what's in it before you pick it up, so that you can walk around and find the spot, right?
All right.
If you're looking for specific ore.
I'm gonna look for some
more iron. And also you can hold the left mouse button to pick up rocks, or just like you kind of sweep through the rocks, and it will just pick them up, and it will actually give you a bit more rock for every rock that you pick, about twice as much. So yeah, rock rake tool helps a lot, but then still it's still not much compared to what the mining rig will give you.
Ooh, mining rig. I'm liking the sound of that. I mean,
the mining rig is it's not just like one machine, right? It's like you have to assemble something yourself, right? Like you have a mining drill, you got to anchor that to the ground, you got to power that with some batteries, and and so on. So and then a game gets more complicated as you advance through that.
So, how did you determine the amount of rocks that one should have to pick up to make things? So, how did you weight the difficulty?
We're trying to make it like a new player will take about 10 minutes before getting the rock rake tool, and then 10 minutes before getting the before being able to craft the stuff for the mining rig. Maybe another 5 minutes to figure out how all that works, right? So between 10 and 15 minutes to every step, and it goes a bit faster over time, but there's a lot of steps. And then you get to make your own challenges, and like as you craft these things you get ideas and like, oh, what if I do that, does that work, can I go underwater, can I build a submarine, and you try things
Yeah.
and it just works, right?
From creative
So
mode, every single time I've had a question like, "Oh, can you do this?" the answer has been yes. Like even things where I'm like, "Oh, there's no way they've implemented that yet." Like when I was flying your little plane, when the controllers started rumbling, I was like, "Did they seriously add haptics like to this early access game?" You guys have just kind of done everything. Like it seems like every time you've done something, you've asked, am I missing anything? And then you add everything in the gaps.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hidden features that like we haven't documented, I guess, because we're just too busy adding the features, and then we like we want to document them, but then we have an idea. Oh, let's add that too, you know, and it just goes on and on. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to make something real. I mean, if you get what I mean, right? We're trying to not fake anything as much as possible.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I mean, the moon over there.
the number one question that we're getting in chat right now is when it's going to be available on AMD cards, which I know is probably a hard question.
Okay, so that question, yes, it's actually not up to us. We have tried many times to make it work with AMD cards. They have driver bugs right now. There's actually three different things going on with their drivers that make it not work well with the game. On Windows, it actually just doesn't start. It straight up doesn't start. On Linux, with the RAD-V driver, it will start, but there's a graphical glitch that makes it basically unusable. Like you go into the game, you're gonna have all kinds of weird colors on the terrain. I mean, the overall colors are also weird, and the in-game computers are unusable. Their screen doesn't have the right. It's like it doesn't have the right texture. I mean,
Sounds
it's
very
weird. Like
familiar.
it's caused. Yeah, that bug is caused by AMD not. They don't like. I mean, the driver, it seems, doesn't like the fact of having procedural geometries and triangle geometries in a ray tracing acceleration structure. It doesn't have to have. It doesn't like to have both at the same time, both using ray attributes. The ray attributes will corrupt each other, right? So it's like they haven't tested that or something, right?
Got it. Yeah, so one of the other games I do on my channel, Space Simulation Toolkit, actually also only supports NVIDIA cards, and it's because of poor driver support from AMD. That's
Yeah,
on the
or
CUDA.
is it not with CUDA? I thought this game would be because it uses CUDA or something.
Yeah, it is from CUDA. Yeah, that's why it doesn't.
Yeah, because AMD doesn't. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, NVIDIA has they have a lot of great features, but they make it proprietary. So uh, the good thing about AMD is they usually open source things, but I mean, at the same time, they don't really have a choice. Otherwise, they can't compete anyways.
Yeah. It seems
So
like they try to make compatibility layers too, but it doesn't seem like they ever actually work.
yeah, they just, I mean, they added the ray tracing hardware and then they just butched the driver real quick just to say that it works. I mean, the hardware is capable, but it just it doesn't work well. They just don't put the energy for it, I guess.
Alright, so I have a rock rake now. I am raking a lot of rocks. This is definitely one of the best rock raking experiences I've had in a video game, gotta say.
Seriously?
Well, I don't think I've ever raked rocks before in a video game, so I think it wins by default.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
This is definitely a very this is a very unique game start. It actually kind of reminds me of this old Roblox game, Terra Firma Craft, where in the beginning of the game you're literally useless and you're like picking up berries and just hoping that nobody else murders you, and then you're like, oh, I found a nice pointy rock. Finally, I'm moving up in the world. But the slow progression can actually be really nice, though. There's a lot of games like Minecraft that just aren't very fun to me anymore because it's just so easy to blow through the entire game. Like, there's no real progression past a certain point. I just upset a lot of people in the chat, I'm sure. I'm not allowed to speak poorly of Minecraft. It's their darling.
I mean, every game has its ups, right? Like every game has like they have a philosophy, and they have they're good in it in their own way. Like every game has their own thing going on, right? The moment it starts getting worse is when they try to be another game. Right? Like if they try to, they get greedy, they want to, just, oh, let's make more money with that. Let's add this and break the game for everyone else, right? This is the kind of thing that we really don't want to do, right? Like we want to keep this game with the current philosophy, and that is very important. We have our 5 commandments. I don't know if you've seen them.
I have not seen them. I'm sure they're good.
Yeah, I've not seen them. Okay, I should send you a link. I mean, just go on a website actually.
Thank you, Mr. Anxiety, for the $2 super chat. I think the biggest thing right now with games is the sequels. Like, instead of improving the games, everyone seems to just be making #2. Like Kerbal Space Program and City Skylines, huge fan bases, great games, but instead of improving their game and fixing the biggest problems, they just resold it at a higher price. And actually worse. Both were worse than the original. I have a feeling
they have something that works, and they say they decide they want to try to make a sequel. But I mean, it needs to be at least better than the first one, right?
Yeah. And
Of
one of
course,
the
if you have a
things
huge,
I really like about this is that you actually priced it like an early access game. Thank you. It's not like $60.
yeah. So I've sent you a link to the website. If you want to talk about the 5 commandments, maybe you can somehow like show that on the stream.
Yeah, no, I got it. Thou shall obey physics. Oh, I already like it. Yeah, that's actually one of my biggest problems with Kerbal Space Program was basically when they were like, the physics are bad, but that's why it's fun, so they kept it bad, and it's like, no, your rocket exploding midair because the physics are poor does not make it more fun. It makes it frustrating. Thou shall not see loading. No loading screens. Very Valve of you. I like it. Thou shall not hit a wall. So question. If I never hit a wall, then I'm assuming it's either a player-based origin or you're using 64-bit precision.
Look, right now, here, you can walk forward, you're going to hit a wall, right? That's the only way to hit a wall in this game.
Yeah, if there is a literal wall in front of you, yeah. Yeah. Very nice. Thou shall not be the... immersive first-person controls, no cutscenes, and thou shall make sense. Brilliant. I'm a huge fan. Yeah. Oh, you can customize your avatar if you make an account? Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, I may have to look into that.
Yeah, well, that's with the Legacy launcher. But I mean, if you want to customize your avatar with the Steam version of the game, you just press F1 and you have it there. You have an avatar style editor. It works the same way as.
Got it. I mean, you look pretty snazzy by default. Very shiny and awesome. So, was the idea when you made the characters super shiny to just show off the RTX abilities?
Of course.
Yeah, I figured. I was like, wow, I'm a walking mirror. It looks really cool, though. Oh, you showed me before the infinite mirror trick.
Yeah, that's what I'm preparing.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this game is the engine is completely ray traced. I've never actually seen the mirror trick work in a game before. No way. No.
I just
no. Oh, that is insane. And the crazy thing is, like, in a normal game, when you go into a scene or something that has something like this, you can feel the FPS drop. Like, you know that you're in a more like intense thing because the raster render has to do like effects and stuff. But because it's ray traced, you can't tell. Like, my FPS does not care that I'm in.
Well, it depends on what GPU, but yeah, I mean, it's not that much more than just rendering the remaining of the scene, right?
That is incredible.
Yeah, the scene is fully ray traced. Like there's no there's no first rasterization part pass, right? It's fully ray traced in one pass with many bounces, recursive bounces.
I've always
So
wondered what would happen if you made a sphere that the inside is a mirror of,
yeah,
and then had a camera inside of it. It'd probably look
I
really trippy.
mean, it will be completely dark unless you
Well, you'd have to put a
put up a
light in.
light.
Yeah.
But I had tried that at some point. Yeah. It's weird. I mean, I mean, you have to see something. Something has to reflect, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have some kind of diffuse mesh inside and some kind of light source, and then you're just gonna see that, right?
All right.
You're not gonna see anything other than that mesh, right?
I have a rock rake and I have a bunch of rocks now. I have a bunch of silicon, iron, copper, screws.
Okay. So I guess, I mean, if you want to keep going with the adventure mode, we could do that as well.
That's up to you.
So if you want,
whatever you think is best to show off.
how much time do you got? I got time.
I got a couple of hours, maybe.
Sure.
When my wife says I need to sleep.
I mean, you could try crafting your mining rig, maybe, and let's see how that works.
All right. So a mining rig, I'm going to assume I need to have like a frame to build it off of.
Yes, everything needs to be built out of. I mean, you have to start with a frame and some I mean, walls or blocks on it, and then you can remove those after.
All right,
But
I'm
you have to
making
start with that.
a constructor tool since that's probably necessary. And then does the constructor tool just like take materials out when I build?
It does, yes.
Okay, I need steel beams. Oh, good. Very good. It only costs 1 iron and 1 carbon. I was worried it would be like 100 each. Oh, and I can shift click it. Brilliant. All right. Yay! We did it. We did it. Okay, so what is your average mining rig look like?
You're gonna need, of course, a mining drill. You're gonna need a ground anchor. You're gonna need a battery or some way to power it, and you're gonna need a toggle switch to turn things on, right?
Oh,
and
man.
some cables.
Oh, there is a lot. There is a lot of resources required to do this. Okay, maybe we should do the accelerated version. Let's pretend I have all the resources, and I'll just.
I'm the server admin. I can give you stuff.
Yeah, if you want to give me the resources to build the mining drill, I don't want to skip any stages because they're fun, but I also don't want to force the audience to watch me pick up rocks for an hour. I mean, they'd probably enjoy it because they're weird, but.
So you should be seeing a mining drill already in your inventory.
Ooh. Alright, so the mining drill.
And a ground anchor.
I like that you've already built all these admin tools in to like go into people's inventories. It's inspiring, really. So much functionality. Alright. I see the spools, the ground anchor, toggle switch, cables. So I did figure out the cabling and stuff, which is beautiful. That is literally my favorite thing about this game, is definitely the cabling system. It's so good.
I actually made a mistake in the name while giving you the toggle switch. It's toggle button. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I'm just gonna give you a few again.
Ah.
So yeah, the
it's like a little Amazon box. Oh, that's great. I love that. That's really great. All right. So then I need to place this on like a frame, right?
Yeah, you got a frame there. You could put a wall, or I mean a floor, if you want to put a floor.
I think I
You can
need composite
build these blocks. I
or
can give them to you. Wait,
all right.
just a second.
All right.
Should have 1,000 concrete blocks.
Yes, I read chat. I'm just focusing on this incredible game.
So now you're using composite. I've given you concrete blocks, so you could just switch the material with your constructor tool
Okay,
with
so
the mouse wheel. While holding C.
oh, I didn't even know there were different materials, but of course there are. Boom. All right, I've got a wall.
So you can hold Shift, and it will let you put like a floor. Because while holding Shift, it will let you pick the next logical thing that you're aiming at.
Oh, you don't have to walk inside of it. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have
This is probably
the
the
logic reverses when you're inside.
things you were cringing at in my video. All right, got it, got it. Now, does the drill just go through the floor?
Oh yeah, it can just go through the floor, but you can make it aesthetics if you want. But yeah, it will just go through.
That's why I was putting a wall. I thought I had to stick it off the wall. Okay, I guess I'll just.
Yeah, you can remove that wall. You can also remove the frame and the beams.
What's that? Frame. Ah! I always do that. I always accidentally add one instead of removing one. There we go. Okay, so we got this, and then I should have like hanged. If I remove this, will it go back? Oh, I can't remove it. I don't have the tool suit. Never mind. It's fine. And then I just need to power it and turn it on, I'd assume.
Yeah. I just given you something for that.
All right, high voltage battery. So if you're playing this in survival, when you craft the high voltage battery, does it start at full charge, or do you also need to make a solar?
It will start at full charge, but it's quite expensive.
Got it. But it's at least you're at least able to power your drill.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. And then you got the data cable.
Then you have to recharge that battery at some point, right?
So the low voltage cable, would that also run this just very slowly?
Yes, you can run it with either way. Depends, you know, like if you don't need that much, I mean, if you don't need to dig that fast, and you don't have that much material on you, you can just build a low voltage battery instead. Right? So you got two options.
I love this wiring system so much. I'll keep saying it. It's so good.
By the way, you can with that wiring system, you can use the mouse wheel to use a different pathfinding if you don't like what it's suggesting.
No way.
And,
what?
And you can also, yeah.
What?
Yeah, another cringes that I had when you were making your cables go through things, it would go the other way around. Or...
Oh man.
Yeah. So, and also you can snap.
It's vibrating and moving.
Yeah, because it's not anchored.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. This is Let's refer back to the 5 commandments. Thou shalt obey physics.
Yeah.
Gotta remember. Okay, and then I can press V and I can. Oh.
Yeah, I mean it's not. I mean. Yeah, that it's not completely upside down, so it doesn't suggest it. Maybe I'm gonna fix that, but I'm gonna do that for you real quick. I'm just gonna put something like quite heavy right there.
It has to obey physics because that's one of the rules.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. And then this, does it have to be? Oh, it duh. Oh, jeez. that was not optimal placement, was it? I mean, it'll still work, no?
Yeah. I mean, as long as the drill bit can reach
All right, whatever.
And,
Honestly, I already shot myself into space by doing silly things. This won't be the most ridiculous thing I've done today. That was great, by the way. When it actually worked, the experience was just incredible.
yeah.
Um,
So the cables can be snapped onto components as well, not just onto blocks. And the way to do that is to hold shift. So when you passing cables, you want to
oh, it
snap them. You can
can
snap them
go
anywhere.
on.
Yeah, if you
Oh.
hold shift, you can snap them anywhere, any surface.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then does this have a power cord?
It doesn't have power.
Just
A lot like some components, they just assume that it's like like physical push rods and things like that.
got
Like
it
things
like a
like
spring.
that, ground like
Yeah.
that. Other things are like as well, so that you don't need to power them.
Oh, look at it go. Turns out when
Yeah,
you actually anchor it to the ground, it works.
yeah.
So I'm assuming the materials are going into the drill.
No, there's no storage integrated in the drill, so it's just wasting the rocks.
Oh, okay. So I
Yeah.
need to
Give a
actually.
container.
Oh. Okay, I need to actually put it into something.
Yeah, I gave you a container.
Ah, and then I'm assuming that little square in the back is the item conduit.
Yeah.
This is giving me real throwbacks to Minecraft mods, like building little Minecraft factories, and that's a good thing. That is in the most the best way I can say that, because that was literally my childhood. So this is fantastic. Okay, so I can. Oh my holy moly, that's fast! Wow.
Yeah, that's with the high voltage battery. It's
Whoa.
10 times faster than low voltage.
Whoa. Okay, so once you get one of these bad boys, you are basically you do not need a rock rake anymore.
I mean, that spot will deplete over time, though.
Oh. Okay, so alright. Got it. And then it's not, because it's height map based, it's not voxel, so it's not actually going to get lower.
It's not. But, I mean, it could. We have done some experiments in the past that, we can do some great things with ray tracing that we can't do with rasterizer.
Oh, I'm not saying you
and
need that for the game to be good. I'm just confirming so I don't accidentally say the word voxel. Although I guess the building is basically voxel.
Yeah, it would not be voxels per se. I mean, this isn't a full-size planet. It's not a flat surface. It is an actual spherical terrain. So you can't really do voxels with that. Also, with the sheer scale of it.
Yeah.
It would technically be possible to do things like like merge some voxels grid where you start digging and like, but it would.
So I was actually, before I was going to ask, because I had been working on projects with procedural voxel planets before, I was going to be like, how did you solve the problem between different levels of detail? But that answers my question. And it makes sense because it's a complete pain. It's a complete pain doing voxel planets.
There is a way that we're experimenting with that would let us dig anywhere on the planet, no matter its size.
Very cool.
And that only works with a fully ray traced renderer. We could take advantage of things. But anyways, that will be for a future surprise if we implement it. Because we're not sure yet if we want to go that way with the gameplay.
So if the terrain is generated on the GPU, right?
Yeah, actually the algorithm runs on both the CPU and the GPU.
And is the
It's the
CPU
same formula?
is the CPU side for the collisions?
Yes.
Got it.
And also it prepares part of it for the GPU. It will prepare, say, where the terrain chunk is, and it has to sample that function for that. And then the GPU will fill in the specific positions of each vertices.
All right, that makes perfect sense. Okay, I have a lot of rocks now. So, I've played around. I'm assuming though that you have some very interesting things in your clipboard or your blueprint tool, considering you've been playing around this with
Uh,
this.
I guess I do. Um, let's
So,
see.
what would it look like after I get this? Is this the point at which once you're mining like this, it's basically just make your vehicles
Okay.
have fun, or is there
Uh,
another
no,
progression?
I'm just gonna spawn a vehicle right here.
Huh! That is a massive quadcopter.
Yeah.
Alright, what's that? Alright.
So it has the props are on hinges, so it can go real fast.
Oh, that's genius.
Yeah, and so there are some ailerons as well here, so that at high speed we can actually get very good control. But in hover, these ailerons don't do anything, obviously. So in hover, we got differential hinges like that for, say, yaw. And for roll and pitch, we're gonna vary the individual pitch of the blades like this.
Wow.
So then it will create, it will have more of bite in the air and it create lift on more side than the other and things like that. So, and we simulate gyroscopic precession for each propeller. We simulate induced torque and ground effect. Pretty much anything we could think of that a proper simulator would.
So I'm assuming you have them going in opposite directions then to cancel out.
Of course.
And
Yes.
then
So.
I was gonna ask, since you are a stickler for details, if we go very high, does the amount of lift go down because of the air getting thinner?
Of course.
Ah, beautiful.
Of course. So yeah, this one, the left propellers are turning in one direction, the right ones are turning in the other. In a typical quadcopter, though, you will not have that. You will have a diagonally matching rotation directions, because you want to use induced torque for yaw. But with this one, it's quite heavy for the mass of the props, so it doesn't make much of a difference. It's not powerful enough. The induced torque is not that great because the vehicle is so big. So I'm using hinges, and I matched sideways instead of diagonally.
I've never actually thought about how a quadcopter does yaw. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
So it will increase speed diagonally on two of the props and reduce speed on the other. So this way it doesn't lose balance, right? And it keeps the same amount of thrust overall, but some propellers are accelerating, others are decelerating, right?
All right. Do you want me to try to fly it?
I mean, if you have a joystick,
I do.
I mean, otherwise I'll play it anyways. I just want to show you real quick the other one that I built.
Ooh.
These are all built in the game, by the way.
Oh, it's a tiny one.
This one is, yeah, that's a proper quadcopter. So I have a video on the YouTube channel, on Archean's YouTube channel, with this one, with a short flight. And so yeah, that one is really it's very quick. It's very maneuverable. Let's say it flies exactly like a real FPV drone. If you know, some of your viewers are actual drone pilots doing racing and stuff, like they're gonna enjoy this one. As like the real thing.
That's crazy.
It uses the same, like, it works the same way, same tech. But I mean, the prop pitch move as well, not just the acceleration, so that, you know, you get even more power out of it. If you tilt the props, you're gonna get even
Oh, it automatically turns on when you get in the seat. That's neat.
Yeah, that one it turns on when you sit on it. It's just how I coded it in that tiny computer in the back.
Oh. So the one thing is I can use my I could use my PlayStation controller as a joystick, but it's super touchy. Like the slightest input makes it go like all the way.
I'm just gonna make the time go back 1 hour. Give us a bit of sunlight.
Is there a way to modify how sensitive the controls are?
Oh yeah, I mean you could do that in the game directly with the computer. It's all coded in the computer. I mean, it could be a good thing to demonstrate actually.
All right.
You land and go hit code on that computer in the back.
I love the code editor, by the way. It's very intuitive. Not to name any other games with in-game code, but sometimes they are not very fun. Alright, so you've got the quadcopter.
You can control plus. You can do control plus to zoom in. Actually, in the code. In the code, you can do that. Not in the nodes yet, but I'm actually working on that feature right now, today and yesterday.
Alright, very cool.
Monitors.
Very, very cool.
So that's the code that's generated automatically from the nodes.
Yeah,
if
and then I'd
go back to.
I'd assume the 0.7 is the scaling on the sensitivity, probably. Yeah. Where's the node? Switch nodes. There we go. Oh, you actually, there's an expression one where you can just, okay.
Yeah,
That's
sometimes it's easier to just write the expression and like put in like 4 different nodes there.
Oh, very cool. So then I can just...
You can also type in the values directly next to the inputs.
Got it. And then if I turn these down to just like 0.5, I'm assuming it'll make it a little bit less intense. I think the issue may just be with how my my controller is being mapped. I don't think it's doing like partial values. I think it's just going from like 0 to 1. Because
that's possible.
It feels like the moment I move it, it's just full power.
I mean, it is very sensitive to begin with, but yeah, it's possible that they.
Although the trigger definitely works properly because I can definitely control that. Oh, that is a little bit easier to control now. There we go. Whee! So like, would you be able to get enough speed to hit outer space with this thing?
Not with this.
I
mean, you could maybe go all the way to like 30 kilometers altitude or something. It's electric engines, so they don't need oxygen. Either way, there's no oxygen in that atmosphere in the Archean Eon. So you're just going to be limited by the air density, basically. You get enough momentum, you might be able to get all the way to like 30,000 kilometers, actually. 30 kilometers, 30,000 meters.
Got it. Thankfully there's no damage yet when you fall, because that would have been a hard landing.
Yeah.
Turn my volume down a little bit. I'm learning. I am learning. Let it be known, I slightly know what I'm doing now. So, how are collisions in physics between vehicles?
Yeah, I mean, the physics is all server-side. I'm even doing ray tracing on the server side, but on the CPU. So the server doesn't need an RTX GPU, but I'm doing a bit of ray tracing there for some for aerodynamics, for occlusion detection between different surfaces.
And you're telling me that the server runs on a little... 2 servers run on a little PC.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's my own physics engine, so I was able to optimize it quite a bit. And I still have ideas, a lot of ideas to optimize it even further.
All right, I'm
But
gonna
I mean,
crash
it's
into you
not
just for
ready
fun.
yet.
I cannot believe that you haven't been like hired out by a huge games company because.
They're trying. My salary expectation was just too high.
Oh man, I hope to one day be in that position. Oh, absolute Chad mindset. Use that in your work and oh yeah, that is not janky at all. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you said
Physics run at they would run at 200 steps per second on the server side.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only time that things get laggy, which I noticed in my own testing, is if you fall upside down. And I'm assuming that's because it probably does something weird with the ray tracing if your head goes through the ground.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're upside down, you're gonna have very highly detailed terrain right near your face, right? And your GPU has to generate that, and every time you move a little bit, it will regenerate the one next to it. You know, like as you move, it generates the terrain to have a high LOD, and there's no terrain caching. Otherwise, it will be just just too much memory.
Got it.
So it will just regenerate the whole thing every time. But it's fast enough so that so that it's okay. You might get some lags here and there. I have a couple ideas to improve that already. But
and then
I'm not really complaining about it. So
another question. I notice when it does, when I do that and it lags, it looks like the resolution drops. Do you have dynamic resolution?
I do not.
Oh, really?
Dynamic resolution.
Interesting.
What you might notice is DLSS.
Oh.
Sometimes DLSS decides to reset itself and things like that, and it might appear that it's.
That makes sense. Honestly, maybe I'm just freaking out DLSS. That might explain why it feels.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not used to the game being upside down. It's not in the training data.
Yeah. I mean, the training data for DLSS is quite simple, actually. I'm talking about the DLSS 2 and 3. The AI part of it is very simple. It's actually just for determining if you want to accumulate or not a previous sample from the past frame or the next pixel, right? It's just like, do you want to accumulate or do you want to start a new pixel from scratch, right?
Interesting.
Neural and spatial anti-aliasing. Basically, DLSS is TAA on steroids. It can actually do upscaling as well.
All right. So that I can prove to people who are slightly skeptical that this is a space game, do we have anything that can get into space? I did earlier today, but people keep saying I haven't actually seen you in space. So
okay, well, let's just do something real quick. Let's spawn some kind of weird UFO I made just to test that.
Oh, it's very simple looking.
This is a vehicle that can just go anywhere. Just to demonstrate the capabilities of this engine, mostly. You're typically not going to build that in the game because it's not realistic. It uses some component called a magic cube. It just lets you bend physics and stuff. So it flies like a UFO. It can go at any speed.
It can teleport.
It can teleport as well.
Anything
Just gonna add a seat. Oh yeah, just turned off that switch there before you go through the ground.
Is that a toilet?
Yeah, we can go through the ground with that, and yeah.
Oh man, your legs are in the toilet. That doesn't look very comfortable. Oh, there it goes. There it goes.
So you can sit on the toilet, and I'm gonna be flying the thing and show you around.
All right. I see how it is. So who added the toilet?
Yeah, I mean, it's just for fun. There's a few Easter eggs like this, like that Amazon-looking box as well. There's also a bubble head that's quite funny. Anyways, so so this thing can can go through the ground. Basically, I can just clip through the ground if I want to.
Whoa!
Yeah, there's a switch that disables ground collisions and atmospheric effects and all that. It's really a dev tool, or like test weird stuff. So yeah, right now I'm just hovering there, and I'm gonna increase speed.
Whoa! You're not kidding about increase. How fast was that?
We're going 27 kilometers per second right now.
Wow.
I mean, we're in space.
I think
We could just do some EVA, like
my face just melted off. So something I did notice that I'm going to ask about is when you break apart an object, it still stays together. So everything on a vehicle is still anchored together, right? And
yeah, this is for build flexibility. The vehicle is never gonna just like split in your face. It's both for gameplay experience and for performance. If we were to analyze all the time whether every part is connected with every other part, then it would be a lot heavier.
So
we would have to keep with 2-meter blocks like space engineers do, but we do 25-centimeter blocks and like a lot more flexibility because we can get away with.
So then I'm curious, if I saw people talking about destruction. I feel like that's the hardest part of destruction. Probably, unless destruction is just way off in the future.
It is, well, we wouldn't say way off, but it's in the plans. We're planning on having, I mean, not a space engineer's level of destruction, but we're planning on having it a little bit more advanced than, say, Stormworks.
Very cool. Well, yeah, Stormworks doesn't really, just throws a crack texture onto things.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so as you can see, we're still going like 26, almost 27 kilometers per second.
I feel like that's definitely not fast enough to reach the moon in a reasonable amount of time, but I'm assuming you can go faster.
Yeah, we could go a lot faster. This thing can go faster than the speed of light.
Wait, it can go faster than light?
We don't have any speed limit in the game.
Oh no, doesn't that break one of the 5 rules, the 5 commandments?
I mean, we don't have it because it would be just impossible anyways to reach the speed of light with just propulsion. But yeah, I mean, it would be easy to just add that limit in, right? It would be quite easy.
If greater than...
It's just not...
just the code, if greater than 300 million, then
equals that, right?
Beautiful.
But we don't have to, right? We just don't do it because we don't have to yet. I mean, there's no physics problems. We could go as fast as possible and dock with your friends. Like right now at 26 kilometers per second, I mean, if your friend can actually find you, I mean, you have locator beacons that can be used for that. Then you can dock together with a docking port.
Are you serious? You can dock 2 moving vehicles together?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No matter the speed, yeah, you just do that. And the physics is always synchronized perfectly between vehicles, so you're never gonna have like you can be 2 fighter jets flying at Mach 3 in the atmosphere, and you're gonna be able to follow each other and touch wings, and it will actually collide, right?
Oh, and it's kind of like those refueling missions where they have the big plane refueling the fighter jet by the hose. You're saying you could do that?
That is actually possible right now in the game if you want to try that.
All right. I want to see the moon.
So
it looks good from a distance.
Okay, I want to see the moon. Let's try to see the moon.
I'm just curious about the craters.
Okay.
Is the that's definitely not Earth. Is the moon modeled after the moon, or is it just random?
So yeah, it's modeled after the moon. There are currently 2 terrain generation modules, one for the moon and one for the Earth. Each planet can have its own generation module. So let's just go accelerate here. Right? We're going quite fast, over 1,000 kilometers per second.
And then with your custom physics engine, what happens if you crash into a planet at an absurd speed? Will you phase through it, or will it actually catch it?
It will catch it. You will never phase through terrain. It's just
Really?
impossible unless what I just did by specifically disabling that the terrain collision. Yeah.
Wow. So I mean, you didn't just make a game. You made a game engine that's like more powerful and more realistic than almost
check
anything.
this out. See, do you want to go back to the spawn? Press the teleport button.
Teleport.
Yeah, the other one. Yeah,
Oh.
That's it, and we're back.
Oh
Have you seen any loading screen?
no, that was very fast.
Yeah, and the terrain, the high detail terrain, was not loaded. It unloads as you go further, and it just loads back again instantly when you go back. So you can just teleport anywhere. There's no loading screen.
Wow. So then, oh, I see stuff over there, across the horizon. My question is, oh, also when it comes to servers, is there a maximum amount of vehicles that can be like active on a server?
We have not reached that limit. We have not really tried that much. There's no set maximum, but there are some people who have like maybe 50 vehicles in there, and there's no problem whatsoever.
Oh my god!
I think it would be about 50, maybe 40. I don't know.
That is
But it's still no problem.
that's a lot of people.
Yeah. So you're sitting there. Okay. So let's go. Let's go see these. I'm just gonna show you something first.
I'm gonna keep asking like really intense technical questions. Don't take it as I expect you to implement these things. Have you considered sharding on servers for like players close together so that you can have like a lot of people on one planet?
I haven't tested it yet, but I think we've been like something like 8 people on the same server. Maybe was it last night? Something like that. There was one server it was like we're 8 people, and the server was like, I don't care.
I'm just
Like
asking
everything was working.
because I actually played this game, which actually fell apart. It didn't end up panning out, but it was called Dual Universe, and it was a game, a voxel game with planet scale, and they had this custom server architecture where everyone was actually on the same planet, but it kind of broke it into regions.
Yeah, that's a MMO, and they had a very powerful clustering system, like a server meshing kind of system. Like, and Star Citizen is trying to achieve that as well, but the Dual Universe had a very powerful system, but it's not. I mean, it's not perfect. No system is perfect, and we are not planning on being any kind of MMO in Archean.
That's what I figured.
So it's gonna stay small in terms of maximum number of players, but we have a limit of 100, but we haven't tried that far. If for some reason someone tries it and it reaches 100 and it still works fine, we could just increase that limit. It's just because we think that at 100 it would just be unbearable, but we don't know actually.
Got it.
The default limit is 16, and they can just play around in the config file.
The issue with Dual Universe is they had good tech, but the game wasn't actually. It was so heavy on tech and so light on game. Like it took like 8 years to build a vehicle, and for the average person, they don't care that much about having 2 billion people active on one planet. They just care about the game being fun, which it seems like you guys have taken the approach of getting features out that are fun.
Yeah. Okay, so now this is the spot where people build stuff.
Oh, that's a nice yacht. Is that a boat plane?
The thing right over there, I think it's no, it's just a normal plane with a mining rig on it. It's a VTOL kind of plane.
Is it on top of a boat?
Not very well, actually.
Oh no, it's just kind of shaped like one. Interesting.
So over there is a submarine. I have actually made a video with it. YouTube channel.
Oh my god, the
And
crane.
there is a crane. Yeah, to put it in water and pick it back
No
up.
way. Is that cable I see like flexing? Is there?
Yeah.
Does it have tension
Yeah, there's
physics?
cable. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I get that.
Oh man. I can it's definitely very apparent that you spend a probably unhealthy amount of time on this.
Yeah.
Just the depth.
Let me just do something real quick. I want to show you something. I have access to this thing. There are owner pads and stuff, so I can't really can't always access other people's builds. I'm sure he wouldn't mind if I pick this one up, but there's an owner pad on it.
Oh man.
I'm just gonna spawn a new build real quick. Let's say a rover. Okay, so I'm just gonna spawn a rover here, and I'm gonna put a cable on it, kind of attach points. Let's see.
The water looks very good too.
There. And I'm gonna put another attachment point on this quadcopter.
Are you gonna lift the rover into the air?
Yeah, let's try that.
You'll never catch me. Technically, I could drag you around too. Oh my! Look at the.
Well, this quad is quite heavy.
It's very heavy.
You can. Yeah, it's a lot heavier than the rover.
These
but...
physics though, how? I don't understand. I don't understand how the game is performing this well. You've got to be kidding me. That's got to be a little challenging to control.
Yeah, it is. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man,
how?
I cannot believe. I cannot believe that this actually works. Like, it's not.
Why would it not work? Right?
Because you look, most game developers, and this is not a cut on the game development industry, but when they want to add a feature, they do some hacky solution that works half the time, but like everything in this just works realistically and well and isn't laggy. And it's like something like this, connecting two vehicles together like this, I can't think of one example of a sandbox game where you could do this without 18 asterisks attached. Like,
I fell upside down. I was actually looking at your stream to control, but there's like a 3-second delay. I was not seeing what I was doing. That was funny.
I just, especially with, usually when you have networking, you got, generally what a player is controlling, they have authority over, but because you have everything going through the server, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's piloting what.
Yeah. I mean, when you drive this rover, do you feel a latency?
No.
It's fully server-side. The whole physics, whatever movement, the rotation of the tires, the suspension, the bounces, all the angular movement and position
I'm
of
assuming
that rover is controlled server-side.
The client's at least doing prediction, right? And just like
Nope.
No?
Nope. The client has nothing to say about what the server does. The client only controls the physics for the avatar, and that's it.
How even a simple game like Roblox.
There's no extrapolation. It's all just running quickly,
look,
low latency.
Even like Roblox, you have a couple of vehicles and they crash into each other, and the server struggles to keep the physics constant between everyone. And like, here we are, one guy built this, not a VC funded $100 million project, and your physics are like
I mean that's why it worked, right?
I'm getting the message loud and clear. Clearly, you just need to make every product known to man yourself. I mean, why stop at games? You could improve so many industries. uh, it's just the jack of all trades things too. Like I've known people who are very good at graphics work, very good at networking and stuff, but it seems like you've just figured it all out.
I mean, I've been doing that for a long time. I think I was 14 years old when I wrote my first multiplayer game.
Oh
But so I've been doing that for a while. Helps, right? And I'm just very passionate about it. It's like I do just that, right? It's just it's a very hard passion, and yeah, I love physics. I love aeronautics, space, and everything science. So
now you're making me feel
this
bad
project.
about my code. My projects
Sorry?
are so much smaller, and yet they're so much further behind than this. And you're just one dev building a full-on game. I got bugs on Valor that I'm working on, and that's web-based. It's not even close to the same level of complexity.
I've done a lot of web development too. It has its own difficulties, especially in the time of Internet Explorer. You know, when Internet Explorer 6 and 7 were a thing, it's like trying to make it work on Internet Explorer was such a pain. But yeah, I've had quite some time with web development as well. I just got tired of it. It's a pain, right?
It
So
is a pain.
I feel you.
So overall, what are the favorite things you've added? I mean, I've asked to see a lot of things, and we've done a lot of things, but what do you want to show off? What are you most proud of?
The in-game programming is great. The multiplayer is great. I mean, if there are two things that this game does, I think, well, is the multiplayer and the in-game programming.
The programming is both. I'm still shocked it has multiplayer. I didn't realize that this even had multiplayer. It's crazy. Again, like Kerbal Space Program 2, huge team, millions and millions of dollars in funding. They couldn't figure out multiplayer, and the physics for that game were just. It feels like from the beginning you've done things properly.
To be fair, Kerbal Space Program's multiplayer was never a technical challenge. It's the type of gameplay that they want because they have time warp as part of the gameplay. And how would you want to achieve a time warp based gameplay and multiplayer at the same time? Because the players would not be on the same time frame.
I know,
like
but that's what they were
work,
given.
right?
That's what they were given tens of millions of dollars to solve, though. I feel like at a certain point you've got to be able to come up with something.
It's unsolvable. It's unsolvable, but it's not a technical challenge. It's a logical challenge, right? And I mean, the way to solve it is just to make it bad, right? That's how you solve it. You just make it not like. I mean, there are lots of mods. It's never going to be truly multiplayer and time warp capable at the same time. You just can't do that unless you can time travel in real life. Right?
But even Stormworks, which is a little bit more down to earth game, no time warping, multiplayer. Even if you have two people, it starts falling apart. Like legitimately, I've never been able to make a video on Stormworks in multiplayer, even with an RTX 4090, because the moment you have two ships, it literally just falls apart. And that's in an engine that has multiplayer built in. So again, I feel like just all the cut corners. It seems like from the beginning you did the physics engine yourself. You did everything just kind of perfectly, which made probably made multiplayer easier having built the physics yourself, but
I made the multiplayer part with the engine at the very beginning. So the game was from the beginning. I fully ray traced, fully multiplayer, server side physics, built-in DLSS, all that stuff from the very beginning was already like it was a thing, and that's why I guess it works well, because it's been planned like this from the beginning, and I built this thing from the ground up to do these things well, specifically, right?
so then, considering all of the massive leaps in, especially concerning graphics cards, are there any features you're hopefully awaiting for adding even more abilities to the game? Anything Nvidia's got up their sleeve?
Yeah, NVIDIA has a ray reconstruction, uh, uh, as part of the DLSS3, there is a ray reconstruction algorithm that it lets you denoise path tracing, basically, with AI, and that's not open to the public yet. I'm using the DLSS3, but just that upscaling part of it, not the denoising. Even though it does a little bit of denoising by default, just DLSS by itself has it temporarily accumulates pixels, right? So it will do quite a bit of denoising by default, but it's not to a point where you can do a path tracer out of it. So I'm waiting for NVIDIA to actually give me access to that. They do have an early access program for some developers, but that's reserved for the big studios. And I mean, I might be making the game with the most ambitious ray tracing capabilities so far, but I'm still too small, and I don't make loud enough noise for them to,
Well,
to take me seriously.
If I run into
So
any Nvidia people, I'll give you a shout.
that's
Actually,
right.
I had a friend who had a friend at Google, and I did ask them. I was like, did they have a friend at Nvidia by any chance? Because I saw you complaining about this, but unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
Just Google. Um, but I don't think you're gonna have this issue for very long. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Someone with a much larger channel than me is going to make a video on this game, and it's going to go insane, like absolutely insane. I don't think you are prepared for the when Pandora's box opens here.
Oh. Okay.
Like
Oh, we'll see, I guess. We
I've
could
seen this happen to
hold
several games. It's going to seriously. This has more potential. It's not even like it's not a sort of potential that only I'm going to see. Like, this game has such an absurd amount of potential that I think literally anyone can see. Like, just what you are doing right now with that submarine is
it's buggy because it's actually plugged in, and there's a fight between the the arm and the
yeah, the
cable,
cable.
like
I see
fighting for physics.
that.
Just realized it's plugged in and charging.
I yeah, I think it's literally just a matter of time. I think hopefully I'm not overstating this, but I think within like a couple of years you're probably going to be a millionaire. So I'm feeling very special that I get to be one of the first people to really speak with you and see this game, because
Yeah.
you've seriously got something here. Like
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. And I thank you. I think we're gonna work together a bit for some content for your channel, right? That would be
yeah,
great.
no, this is honestly, for a long time I have kind of been procrastinating making videos because a lot of the games I play get a little repetitive, but I can see just like almost unlimited things you can do in this. And this morning I actually got up and I was like, I want to play that game more. I want to learn it because you got cranes, you got boats, you got it's not painful. It's not painful to play this. Like when I go in Stormworks to build a new boat, like I get a ting of dread, like, oh, I'm gonna have to click my left mouse button 800 times to place every single block to put this together. and then all the pipes and stuff. And people can downplay it, but I'm gonna be honest. It is a little dreadful. But this building just felt good. It really does just feel good.
I'm gonna light up the moon. Here there is a cheated spotlight, and it's powerful enough to light up the moon. Let's try that.
Wait. Oh man, ray tracing. I just thought about that. Yeah, technically the rays can go out. Really, there's no limit to how far they can go, huh?
Yeah.
If you can see it, you can shine a light on it.
Make it daytime. Try to get.
How?
Try to position the moon. So, oh, that's an eclipse.
Oh, yo.
So right now there is a this is a solar eclipse. I'm just gonna go forward a little bit. There.
That looks so cool. I can see.
There.
No
Total eclipse.
way. That is actually insane. Actually, I was just in Texas for the solar eclipse. This looks almost cooler. Oh.
In Archean, the moon is a lot closer to the Earth.
Yeah, it's huge.
3 billion years ago. And so it's actually right now geosynchronous, and it's very big in the sky, so it's going to hide the entire sun, and you're not going to see that disk around it, unfortunately.
No, I think
yeah,
it looks really cool.
Purple.
That looks
Advance
really,
time
really
a bit
cool.
more. There. Eclipse is out.
So how often are I saw at one point you said that you weren't updating for 2 days and you were sorry. So I'm assuming the rate of updates is pretty breakneck.
Yeah, I mean, at first I thought I would be updating like once a week, but I ended up updating every day and sometimes multiple times per day.
Wow.
And you know, bigger updates I will skip one day. But yeah, the game has been released for only 3 weeks now, and this is the second time I skip a day of updating, and this is actually skipping 2 days now.
Oh, just don't burn yourself out, man.
I mean, right now. I'm trying to work on the upscaling. I mean, the UI scaling feature, so that it works better with 4K monitors and actually increase performance too. Because I'm working on a way to upscale the image even more on top of the LSS without losing too much quality. So that's actually it's almost done. I'm pretty sure this is going to be all out tomorrow. The biggest issue was all the UI upscale. The scaling of the UI was more difficult because it was not thought this way in the beginning, so I had to refactor a lot of things, and we're trying to make sure there's no bugs, and we're testing carefully. We might introduce bugs with that feature, but I think it'll work great, and you can like just scale your UI, and it will just scale uniformly.
So, another question about gameplay. So when you go up into space, I'm assuming you still have gravity pushing you down because of the first commandment. If I wanted,
you always attracted from to some type of celestial body somewhere.
If I wanted to orbit the Earth and build a space station, would I have to just kind of guess how fast I need to go?
No, I mean there's a nav instrument that will help you with that. So let me.
Does it actually show like your orbit?
Yeah, it does.
You've got to be kidding me. Are you serious? No.
Yeah.
How do you do this? Oh man, you are a living legend. I hope you know that. I don't even think the largest game studio I know of puts out this many insane features. Like, I'm actually kind of dumbfounded right now. It just doesn't seem fair to other programmers to have you in the world. Like,
Well, okay.
how do you brag when something like this exists? Like the amount of achievements you have here. I know people who have gotten their PhD in their thesis was less impressive than one of the things you built into this game. Chat is asking when you started building this.
Uh, the idea came in 2010, and we've been working in different ways. I mean, I've been working with his name is Florian, Flo de KSM, and we've been working closely together for. I mean, we've known each other for over 20 years, and we agree on a lot of things, so that makes it very easy, right? But he's the. I mean, he's being downplayed a lot on Discord right now because I think just people just look at the roles on the our Discord server, and only I have the role developer. I don't know why that is. It just happened that way when we set it up. But I mean, he doesn't do C++, but he does a lot of programming of the Xenon code, like examples, lots of testing. He does a lot of scripting. He does 3D modeling, but most importantly, he's basically the gameplay architect.
Awesome.
He knows games, and it would not have been possible without him. So I'm basically the technical guy, and he's the gameplay master.
I'm definitely
Right?
gonna have to talk to him at some point. So,
Yeah.
is the red line here showing our trajectory?
Yeah, this would be the orbit that we have right now. It's not really an orbit. Oh, okay.
Now it looks like an orbit.
I just went down. It just so happened that I went down real quick, like one key with that UFO, and it accelerated down real quick, and it was just enough to get into almost perfectly circular orbit. That was just a luck.
I cannot believe that you have
Yeah.
the heads-up display and stuff.
So if I accelerate, yeah, if I decelerate, it will do that, right? So it will show your orbit like that, and then you have some hints on the left side and right side for altitude and the target. So this is basically I'm accelerating and decelerating in specific direction. So I got prograde here, and then I can aim at that, and do different maneuvers like this.
Will this help you target for the moon as well, or just for the current planet
Yes.
you're around? Oh, of course it does.
Helps with you can
Of course.
it's basically you can you have a locator mode here. So on the right screen, there's a locator mode, and I just set up so as to locate the moon. And so the moon will be, see that dot over there, and we got informations like the approach speed and the ETA and the deceleration required to get there. So how much deceleration for how long that we need to do it to get there. But these calculations don't take into account the gravitational pulls, so it will be a little bit off. So it's up to you to code something in the computer to get more accurate information.
Literally unplayable.
But either way,
that's it.
this map will output a lot of data for you to grab and do nice stuff from the computer.
I just cannot overstate how flabbergasted I am that this exists. B, that nobody knows about it yet. Like, how this is like the definition of a diamond in the rough. I've never seen something with such potential that has only like 5 Steam reviews. And I know it just came out, but like I'm shocked that your YouTube and stuff. I feel like you should have had like thousands and thousands of people waiting. Like the YouTube algorithm seems to have screwed you a little bit. You deserved a lot more attention.
Well, we're just not great at marketing, I guess. Uh,
Yeah, well,
we also we don't lie in that we don't do fake stuff even for like let's say the Steam capsule. This is a screenshot from the game. We just put a lot of objects together and took it like the hint print screen basically, and then added the logo on top. So that's our Steam capsule. We don't hire artists to do that stuff because we don't have that. We don't have that money power to just hire like hundreds of artists or marketing team
it's
or anything
very
like that.
respectable. Very, very respectable. So you're telling me this isn't going to be a Star Citizen where like $1 billion goes into generating art for the features that you're promising for the future?
I mean, this is a like okay. The way I say it is this project is programmer driven. It's not artist driven, right? It is programmer driven and then player driven. In that
Well,
the basics is there's a sandbox that we provide, and then the players create stuff. The players are the artists.
I'm going to be honest. I knew this was a programmer-driven artist when I hit install on Steam. You want to know why?
Why?
Because the install was 500 megabytes. That was the moment.
Actually, the reason the reason it's 500 megabytes is that we actually include both binaries for Linux and Windows. It would have been a little bit like less than that if it was
Incredible.
Windows only.
Yeah,
Game.
whenever the download size is that small for a game, I know it's procedurally generated every time.
Yeah.
There's no way to get away with it unless you're but obviously for procedurally generated it just looks so good. It looks I couldn't tell you that the world was procedurally oh it is so jarring how fast it is.
Oh wait! Oh no! Because I didn't disable that. The switch is underground.
Quicksand.
I have to wait till
we finally found a way to die in this game.
Goodbye, world. This is not a bug. It's a feature. It's actually it's this switch here. It lets us go through the ground.
Oh no! I know.
People...
It's still funny hearing someone say it's not a bug, it's a feature. I'm very used to that at work.
I mean, I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of people say that for this game because we've done things that most other games don't, and that people are not used to it. So certain things are actually realistic, but it's just people are not used to it, so they're gonna think it's a bug. And we think there's gonna be a lot of these things.
Oh, question: does it matter which way the gyro is spinning?
Yes, because it will do. You can actually control it, and so it has two opposingly rotating discs.
Yeah, and then
these cancel out with these help with attenuating the angular velocity, and for the up axis. We assume that they do differential differential torque to cancel out that automatically, but you can actually control that.
Yeah,
so there's you put data to it to control.
When I built my rocket, I threw a bunch of gyros on thinking it would just stabilize, but I didn't pay attention to how they were rotated. And I was like, oh, it actually cares. Like it's actually got an axis to it. Man. Oh, I can't believe this. This is such a fever dream. Out of nowhere, a new challenger has come into the gaming space. So, how do you feel about how do you feel about the reception so far to your game? Like all these people jumping in and.
Yeah, I think it's overwhelmingly positive. Like from what I'm seeing, people are very hyped about it, a lot more than what I expected. Not sure what that means. I mean, I'm first to this world of releasing a game, right? I mean, I've done smaller projects in the past, and most of my work, was for like other companies or like clients. Like I had my own customers doing like some things, but I would not be the one who publishes the thing, right? This is my first published big project, That so I don't know really what to expect with how the reception of it will be. I'm surprised how well people are receiving it so far. This is I mean, it's nice, and I mean I look forward to see how it's gonna go in I don't know weeks from now, years from now. I have no idea what kind of timeline for what that I am expecting. So, I mean, if a lot of YouTubers take on the game and make videos about it like next week, then I don't know what to expect at all.
The thing
I mean, it is a
is,
niche game.
I was gonna say, like, generally the issue is that, like, expectations go insane. Like, when they see something like this, the expectations go crazy, and studios aren't able to keep up, and so they start pushing out hacky features. But A, you're pushing things out so fast already that it feels unreasonable for people to expect more. Like, I don't. Like, you are going faster than anything I've ever seen before when it comes to development. And then B, like, I don't know what people would really complain about. Like, the big thing is usually, like, there's two things. There's features, and then there's lag. And, like, the more features a game has, the more laggy it is. And, like, the less features, the less laggy it is. And, like, so some games...
We're trying to do the opposite, though. We're trying to optimize the game even more while adding more features.
And that's the thing. I think you may actually... I mean, so far you've avoided this issue, and I just think it says very good things. I think people see that, and they go, wow, this game already... Like, the fundamentals are so strong. You've already built in multiplayer, the physics engine, you've put so much sweat into it to make it expandable in the future, and you're never going to run into this problem where, like, for example, I'm sorry for ripping on it, guys, but Stormworks, I'm sorry. You know, you got a game, it gets very popular, you keep adding features, and then you go, oh my god, the engine can't support this. I don't think you're going to run into that, because you've built this thing from the ground up to support what your end vision is. So I'm very curious to see how it goes. Very curious. Oh, one last question.
I mean, we don't want...
Oh, go ahead first.
Yeah. Is there a question?
Go ahead first.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't want to downplay Stormworks, because we're not gonna lie, it's been an inspiration for this project. I mean, without Stormworks, maybe this would not have existed, because it has been an inspiration that my partner Flo was a huge Stormworks player, and it's his favorite game. So there's a lot of things that we made in the game because he was missing these features from Stormworks, right? And so we made it there, and we integrated them, and then might as well make them better, right? Like, it's just like, oh, might as well go one step further here and there, right? But there's still things that we don't do yet that Stormworks does, like water culling. So if we go inside water with a vehicle that's completely sealed, the water is still going to go in because it doesn't take that into account. Even though we have full buoyancy simulated, the vehicles don't have like, there's no pressurization system yet, but we're working on it. This is the next big feature in the game, actually.
Awesome.
But yeah, this is the thing that Stormworks has that we don't have yet.
So the last thing I'm gonna add, I can't believe you guys basically took what I wanted to build and built it before I could. So I don't think I have the technical know-how to build this anyway, so I can't be too upset about it. This is definitely way above my skill level, building an entire engine. That's actually was my whole thing too. It was like, if you want to build a big game with space and all this stuff, like, you gotta build your own engine, otherwise you're gonna run into problems. And I was like, I can't build my own engine. I'm not that. I'm a C# guy. I'm not a C++ guy. So unless I could hire a team, but it seems like you cut out a lot of the middleman there by just doing it yourself. You had the know-how. But the last question that gonna ask here because I'm running out of time is what games do you play in your own time? Your partner, he plays Stormworks a
Oh,
lot, but
that
like, what do you
that is a
play?
good question. Okay, the game I play is basically coding. That's what I do.
You don't play
I'm gonna
games?
say it. I'm not I'm not a gamer at heart. Uh, because I mean, if there was one game that I could play hours on, is Flight Simulator, because I'm a pilot and I like aviation and I like simulation and but yeah, so I'm a big uh, fan of say Flight Simulator, like Flight Simulator 2020 with these add-ons like A2A who go really deep and they go really in depth into the details and like everything, the physics of it, the modeling, the realism, and I'm into that, right? So uh, this that's my thing. I like realistic things. I like simulation. I like programming. I like science. Uh, and I guess if I say what games I play, I mean I'm gonna say Archean. This is my
It's
this is
understandable.
my favorite game because it's basically the only game I play. But I
Brilliant.
we could also say that I haven't really been a gamer because no game really satisfied my gaming um, my gaming style, I should say.
So
I
then,
have played a lot of Xbox games, but I never last too long. I always end up doing like, oh, let's try to make that myself. I can do it better, right? I always had that mentality, so I always go back to programming.
that's just incredible. So one last thing, and if this is a little bit too personal, you don't have to answer it. So as someone who started my own project to kind of build something myself, one of the biggest issues I run into is like time. I've got so many other things with my job and stuff. Now you said you're working on this like 14 hours a day. So did you just save up money so you could pursue your dream, or
Yeah, yes, part of it is that. So, yeah, I get jobs here and there who pay a lot of money and then like they have small contracts, things like that, or I just end up getting bored and I come back. But I do this here and there, and I have some contracts for my own clients, which I actually stopped like 2 years ago because I really want to focus on this game. So since the last 2 years. Uh, I've been mostly working at least 40 hours per week on this game, but the last 3 months have been maybe 100 hours per week almost.
wow?
Um, and just like full time to get it done, get the features there. It's a passion. I love what I'm doing, and I just want to keep doing that, right?
Man,
So
living the dream, just pursuing your
yeah,
passion project.
yeah, there's the idea. But you need to be passionate. You can't just start, oh, I want to be programmer. I want to do that. You need to really be passionate about it and be willing to spend the time and make the effort to learn. You learn every day. You have to take the time. And some people just can't do that, not because they don't want to, or they don't feel like it, but because they just can't. They have obligations. They don't have the luck of getting high paid jobs, so they can't really save up money. They have kids, or like all kinds of reasons that that make them not have the time to do
Well,
this.
soon I'll have both of
And
those
it's all
excuses.
reasons. Sorry.
I said soon I'll have both of those excuses.
Yeah, so I mean, you call them excuses. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would call it excuses. I mean, to a degree, some people use that as excuses, but I think it's. I mean, it's fair. I mean, there's life, and it's important. And maybe I'm not taking my health too seriously doing that either. I don't know. I mean, uh, it's a passion. It's what I like to do.
No,
I'm getting a lot out of it.
I think
Yeah.
it's incredibly clear that you really are passionate about this project. Like even just Well, one thing that stood out to me is like on Discord, your direct messages being open. Like that's what I did when I was super into YouTube. Like when I was a big YouTuber before I got a full-time job and stopped having so much time. I always kept my DMs open to like talk to fans and stuff. And like that's a huge commitment because you get a lot of people and they're not necessarily talking about your game or anything either. Like you have people coming to you for like emotional support and stuff. I don't know what you go through with people talking to you on Discord, but like that that's like the first thing where I can see someone has a huge commitment. Like when they open their inbox to the world so they can see what the world thinks, because that's a huge, it's a lot of time going through people. But when you really care about your project, you care about what people think about your project. And clearly you do. Alright, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, sure. Take a look at the moon right now.
Is that the spotlight on it?
Yeah.
Where
It's right
where
here
is
in
it?
this, right here.
Does it track the moon, or did you have to aim it?
Yeah, it does. There's a nav instrument wired with the computer, and it just yeah,
Oh
tracks the moon.
man. So, in the future, are there plans for like weapons of any sort?
It is in the plans, but it's never going to be a game that focuses on PvP. But there will be. It is planned to have a PvP mode.
Then I guess
But the focus on the game is always going to be cooperative engineering. But there will be fun parts. There will be a fun aspect for sure about like building weapons and try to kill each other in the game. So we will add that at some point. Yes.
and then it's gonna be moddable as well, right? So
It will be moddable out of the box. It's out. It's already that way. Actually, it's just we hadn't released the official SDK yet, but because we're planning that. But it's actually very easily moddable in a lot of ways already in the current state. But at some point we will open up an SDK and open part of the source code, not the entire thing, but big parts of it, so that people can use and create modules for the game that you can just plug them in, and then you can have modded servers that will automatically download the mods when like clients connect to it, and it will just work. So we're planning to basically support modding out of the box.
very cool. I will say, through this entire thing, I have found a single unrealistic thing in this game.
Oh, what is it?
If I go in front of this lamp, my shadow is not cast onto the moon.
Yeah. Okay, so I can explain that actually. It would have been, except if it wasn't for one single small value that I have written in my ray tracing shader, basically to prevent floating point precision. When we hit the terrain of the moon, basically a pixel traces the terrain on the moon, and it finds light sources, and this light sources, this light right there is reachable from it because it has a very big effect radius because it's very bright.
Yep.
Then it will trace a shadow ray from that surface to the light source, but it will not trace it all the way to the light source. So it will trace it 99.99% of the way and stop there, because we don't want that ray to touch the part of the light, the part that emits the light, because then that would be considered shadow, because it would be considered that there's something in between. So we trace it 99.99% of the way. But the moon is so far that would mean like hundreds of kilometers.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask if I went like really far out in front of it,
Yeah.
could I cast a little dot on the moon?
Yeah, but you will be able to cast a shadow on the mountains. That will work.
On the mountains.
So if I just yeah, sure. I mean, I'm just gonna remove that right here. That should do it. So now we have a big spotlight on the mountain.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. That is awesome. Oh man,
Yeah, and I'm gonna
that's funny.
increase the radius here. There, this is a very bright light.
That is a
So
very bright light. It looks like I'm
yeah,
controlling the shadow rather than my body. I like how you can just like blind everyone on the server, and I like how the light is so bright that it reflects back off of the mountains onto the water.
that's actually a bug though.
Is that a bug? Is it too
Yeah,
bright?
that's actually a bug. I mean, maybe I made a modification in that shader at some point, and it goes backwards as well when it's not supposed to. So when I fix that bug, it would actually increase performance a bit because some of the rays are not going to try to trace for that light.
It's okay, don't worry. A single bug during this entire overview is a new record, especially considering it's been an hour and 44 minutes. All right. Well, I am, like I said, this is the most interesting and exciting project I've seen in a long time. I really do wish you guys luck, and as you update, I will make videos on it because I think it would almost be a career-killing move for me not to. Like, I think the potential amount of views I can get on this game is really high. So there is a little bit in it for me. But it's kind of a mutual thing. If I get a lot of views, it's good for you too. So
yeah, I mean, also it is a niche game, so I think your channel is great for that. You're actually exploring a lot of other niche games as well, and so it's people who are who are into science and space things. So I think that's great. So yeah, I mean, it is a niche game. We're not expecting to have like Minecraft level popularity for sure. But,
I don't
I think there's.
I don't know about Minecraft, but I think at where this is, I can think of several big name games that I think you're beating out on like potential wise. The question is, will the world see that? But I'll try my best. I'll shout from the rooftops. That this is this exists. Everyone I've shown it to so far, has said either I wish I bought an NVIDIA graphics card, or
yeah, oh yeah, that's another thing that we need to make sure that people understand.
yes,
Yeah, yeah, that we actually got quite a big of backlash because of that on Reddit. Like we tried to do our own marketing a little bit, and like posting things on a few subreddits. You know, like not competitors subreddits, but they just indie games and things like that. So
well, that's Reddit. I mean, Reddit is just by default negative, but people are gonna be
yeah,
upset when they realize they
they
can't
were
play.
upset about the ray tracing, the RTX part, and they're like, they don't necessarily understand what ray tracing is because other games, the way they use it is just
It's
like
an
additional
effect.
effect
Yeah.
on top. But they still run a rasterizer in the background. They still run the old technology, and they just add ray tracing on top. So they actually run both things. That's why it's slow. It runs slowly. But we're only running ray tracing. The game would not be possible without that. With all the dynamic aspect of this game, there's just no way to realistically make that with,
And that's the thing.
rasterization.
That people on the internet do not understand code, and they aren't going to comprehend that sometimes it's just impossible. Like sometimes in order to build something, you need to not support things.
Yeah.
So, trying to support everything on Earth is really noble, but it also ties your hands a lot. So
It prevents innovation.
and
I
think,
mean, it takes one thing to really do that, and others will follow, right? And then AMD will fix their bugs, right?
well, I was gonna say I think it's a safe bet to say that in 5 years every graphics card sold will have some sort of ray tracing, And
Well, right now they do actually. They do all the
does Intel?
graphics card manufacturers. Oh yeah, even Intel.
Oh,
Although
really?
Intel have another issue. Yeah, they do ray tracing. They do have a hardware ray tracing on their discrete GPUs. But they do
Interesting.
have another problem that's worse. They do not do FP64. This double precision floating point operations. They
That's
just
an
really
interesting
don't do it.
choice.
Yeah, and we in this game we really need it, right? We're using it very we're using it a lot everywhere throughout this game. I mean, it's the scale is so huge, we don't have a choice, even on the GPU side of things.
Wow. Okay. Well, overall, this has been an absolute blast. We'll chop this up, edit it into a video that kind of covers the biggest things, but I do hope to touch base again and see when you implement like big features because, man, I think you guys are gonna do some great things with this.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it as well, and I mean, I hope we're gonna be working together in the future
Oh,
for
definitely.
content creation and everything. Like, there's definitely things to do. I mean, we're gonna grow each other's communities for sure. So that's great.
Like on the one hand, I love shilling Valor and like I want to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna make a. How do you pronounce it? Because I've been saying, Archean is it that
Um,
is that right?
I mean, you can pronounce it however you want, I guess. I say Archeon,
Archean.
uh, but
Oh, that sounds cool too.
I
I
mean,
just
I'm
don't
not
want to
sure
annoy
myself,
you.
I guess, right? I mean, words are just pronunciations are arbitrary, I guess. I mean, I don't know who invented that word, so
But
you
anyways,
can't really ask him, right?
I was gonna say I love to be like, oh, this will grow my channel. Good for Valor. We can make a community. But like, honestly, at the core of it, personally, as a gamer, like, even ignoring the absolute like benefits of a partnership here, working with you guys, I just want to play this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have fun with it,
uh,
especially if you're a programmer.
yeah.
This, yeah, this game is great for programmers. I mean, you don't have to be a programmer. You can use a visual node system that's intuitive, but if you're a programmer at heart, you're gonna love this game.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again. Hopefully, we catch up soon. And is there anything you want to send people off with?
Well, I hope that a lot of people find this game, especially people who really want this kind of game. A lot of people have said that it's the game they've been looking for, but it's not a game for everyone. It is a challenging game. It's a engineering sandbox. If you like to fool around with stuff, debugging code, debugging why like your power, you don't have enough power to drive certain things. You know, like if you like debugging things and figure things out and play with physics, this is a great game. And looking forward to the future of this community growing into something that I'll be very proud of.
All right. Well, I'll see you next time. And good luck. Good
Yeah,
luck.
you too.
I just want to say the holding down escape to leave things the most interesting choice you made in this game. It
Yeah.
threw me off. But then I realized it auto saved, so I wasn't as upset. But the first time I
Yeah.
did it,
Oh
I
yeah.
was building.
It saves. Yeah.
I was
Yeah, it
building.
saves by default every 30 seconds, and also when you quit anyways. Like when you quit with escape or just close the window, it saves. The saves are instantaneous anyways. It doesn't matter.
Got
So
it. All right. Peace out.
okay.